The seedlings are sprouted, the beds are built, the soil is sifted, and the garden is looking great. Nothing can stop us now, and it's all systems go. It finally feels like the weather and our plants can do no wrong.
Except that if we just go head first into this thing without a plan, we might be risking some or all of our future harvests.
April is a funny month. Most zones are already green, the weather is warming considerably, and it feels like you can do no wrong in the garden.
Unfortunately, with gardening, that's almost never the case. So today, I've got 5 key mistakes that gardeners make in April that can change the trajectory of their year. 5 things that if we can correct this month, we can go ahead and have our best season ever.
Even though we're well above freezing, and for a lot of us the last spring frost date has passed, it still may not be time to plant.
For sure, many crops can and should be planted once the ground thaws, and we've got no problems planting beets, carrots, lettuce, or peas.
For others, though, especially in zones 8 or lower, we're just not quite there yet, as cold nights and inclement weather can be absolutely devastating at this time.
Plants such as tomatoes, eggplant, corn, and especially melons and these peppers here all have tropical tendencies. Waiting that extra week or 3 to plant them out in the garden can make a world of difference to their success.
I get it. The time feels right and you just want to get going. But you really want to wait for those nights to creep above 60 or even 65 degrees Fahrenheit before you begin to plant outside. Remember, even if it's 70 degrees or above air temperature, the soil below in your garden is much colder. Planting too early runs a real risk of transplant shock, and your season can be over before it even begins.
And when we do go to plant out in the garden, in the case of seedlings and starters, we have to harden them off first. No question.
This is especially the case if we grow them ourselves. The infinitely harsher conditions of outside life will absolutely decimate soft and lush specimens that have only been grown indoors. Sunburn, windburn, leaf and stem damage, temperature shock, and of course transplant shock. They're all on the menu if we don't take the time to acclimatize our plants properly. It only takes about 2 weeks of gradual entry, couple hours at first, but it really makes all the difference. I'll throw a link in the description below to a deeper dive on hardening off plants. Check it out if you're interested.
Now, even if the conditions are right outside and you've gone ahead and hardened off all your plants perfectly, one common mistake is to take a weekend and just plant everything you have all at once.
It's not so much that you're going to be inundated with all these simultaneous harvests. The plant's timelines and life cycles are much too varied for that to happen. But the maintenance, observation, and just general tasks that are similar are all going to be jammed together at once, and that can feel overwhelming. Try to stagger your plantings 1 to 2 weeks apart, or at the very least, switch between crops that are direct seeded and those that are started from seedlings or plugs. Break up the gardening momentum not to lessen it, but to prolong it in a much more sustained manner.
Okay, once we do finally plant our plants out in the garden, the tendency is to want to feed them right away. I know this sounds odd, but that can actually be a big mistake.
Seedlings and starters that are just planted need a minimum of 2 weeks to get established and get their root networks functioning to be able to receive and absorb nutrients. If we just go ahead and fertilize right away, most, if not all of the nutrients are simply going to be washed away and wasted, as the plants are more focused on figuring out their new surroundings than they are feeding. A good plan is to wait until at least 2 weeks after planting and then feed with a dilute organic fertilizer. Balanced for now and watered in at 2 to 3 week intervals until the plants really get going. Now, for perennials like strawberries, raspberries, and blueberries that are already established, and even biennials like this garlic here, we can and should feed these guys in the spring as soon as they break bud. There's no transition for these guys as they've already been planted for months, if not years. All of our crops need nutrients. There's no doubt about that. But to be effective, we have to apply those nutrients at the right time.
One more thing our crops need after planting, and this one is immediate, is mulch. Make no mistake about it, bare soil in the garden is the enemy.
Mulch is the only protection we have to offer for the top layers of our garden. Bare soil, when fresh and new, is aesthetically pleasing against the backdrop of our seedlings, but looks is its only positive. If it doesn't get pulverized and denatured by the rains, then it gets baked and turns lifeless by the sun. A nice thick mulch layer is the natural way to prevent these things in your garden, and you'll find that you'll be watering less, feeding less, and even weeding less. Leaves, grass, or straw. Keep it organic, loose, and about 2 inches thick. A mulch layer immediately changes the integrity of your garden and your soil and sets up your plants to be able to withstand whatever comes their way.
And what just came our way was a lot of bad weather, but also a lot of important information. To make sure that it all sticks and makes sense, let's go ahead and recap the main points.
As gardeners, even veteran ones, there's tons of mistakes that we can make that'll affect our harvests and our success. When choosing what mistakes to focus on for this video today, I really wanted to pinpoint the ones that directly affect the plant's trajectory. The 5 mistakes that I picked out here really hone in on the early spring and deal with the when and how we plant. Eliminating the early mistakes carries much more weight, as it's these missteps that get magnified as the season progresses. I know with gardening, it feels like there's always a lot going on. Do this, do that, never ending work. Eliminating early mistakes, though, is work that is worth it. The compounding effects of setting everything up right from the get-go will pay off enormously in the end with not only your plants, but also the harvests.
Hopefully, today we set up you and your plants on the right trajectory for your best year yet. As always, guys, happy growing, and I'll see you soon.